Welcome to ANZSOG, the Australia and New Zealand School of Government, the premier public sector school in the Southern Hemisphere and one of the leading schools of its kind in the world.
I don't think you can go past ANZSOG. I think it's the preeminent school of government in Australasia.
There's never been a greater need for highly qualified public servants, and that's why the school was set up to offer real world-class training, development of skills, leadership skills for the future.
Established in 2002 as a not-for-profit company, the school is funded by a consortium of governments, including the New Zealand Government, the Commonwealth of Australia and the states of New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland and Western Australia. Plus, ANZSOG is in partnership with 12 leading universities and business schools throughout Australia and New Zealand.
I think the ANZSOG model, which is bringing together a lot of jurisdictions, a lot of universities, a lot of capacities into a kind of network, is seen around the world as very much the model I think other countries like UK or the US would want to go in.
The prizes to be presented tonight are the ANZSOG prizes, and these are awarded annually to the student or students who receive the highest marks in each of the core subjects delivered by ANZSOG.
ANZSOG is the only school of its kind in the region to offer tailored learning opportunities for future leaders of the public sector. We offer short-term executive workshops, as well as our two flagship programs, the Executive Master of Public Administration and the Executive Fellows Program.
The teaching approach is geared to the high level of the participants. The participants bring huge experience and high talent to the classroom. So part of the art of teaching is to get them to contribute in problem solving and to learn from one another.
The Executive Master of Public Administration is designed for mid-level public sector managers with leadership potential.
It's a really good course because it is designed for the public sector specifically, so all your policy subjects, your business subjects like your economics and your finance. It is very relevant to the sorts of perspectives you need in and across government.
ANZSOG's got on the map very quickly. Within 3, 4, 5 years, it is now seen as and recognised in Commonwealth budget monies, recognised as a major educator.
The opportunity to explore new ideas and new concepts, that's excellent. And also the opportunity to meet some of Australia's foremost academic minds in public policy and learn about emerging issues.
Students undertaking an Executive Master of Public Administration program can enrol in any one of ANZSOG's partner universities and on completion of the program will graduate from that university with a master's degree.
It really made me question the way I think about government and think about policy and think about different issues.
The Executive Fellows Program is an intensive 3-week course designed specifically for senior public sector executives to help them develop their strategic leadership and managerial skills. The annual program focuses on exploring 4 key themes: providing a context for decision-making, management strategy, building and sustaining relationships, and developing leadership abilities.
I think what's good about the EFP is partly it brings together a really dynamic, exciting group of people working in the public service across Australia and New Zealand, and it's a way of helping them, I think, come to grips with some of the challenges facing governance. Some of them are about how you manage organisations and people. Some of them are about understanding future trends. Some of the issues on, I think, the cutting edge of government, like how do you innovate? How do you change public behaviour? How do you deal with public trust?
What's unusual about the program here is the degree of senior level endorsement, the enthusiasm with which people come, the seriousness of purpose. It's quite unusual in that respect, and it's a treat to be associated with it.
I think the EFP has become pretty much a preeminent program worldwide in really pulling together the skills, the tools which are needed to be an effective public servant in the 21st century.
We invite governments in Australia and New Zealand, throughout the Asia-Pacific region and beyond, to select their most promising leaders to participate in our executive education programs and workshops.
We now have most senior public servants in Australia and New Zealand having gone through our programs. It's a very powerful alumni group indeed.
Probably the biggest benefit was meeting people that are key decision makers around the country.
Contacts and opportunities come your way that wouldn't necessarily have come your way if you weren't part of the alumni.
The alumni is useful to me every day because I can easily just pick up the phone and connect with any agency in Queensland and indeed Australia and New Zealand and find the perfect person who can help me to resolve an issue or resolve a problem. I think that that's one of the great aspects about ANZSOG is that they're building a fabulous alumni where we can become more effective by working together.
ANZSOG has developed a significant resource of original case studies based on real-life situations facing managers.
Well, the case study, for a start, helps illustrate theories and concepts in a very interesting, engaging way. It makes it much more real for the students. Secondly, they're also very useful for class exercises. Students will often take on different roles of the different protagonists and engage in debates much the same way that the protagonists involved themselves may have done it, and students can get quite caught up in the drama of the situation and sometimes get very, very animated in the classroom situation.
Case studies work through real issues, like the Cave Creek disaster in New Zealand and the 2003 bushfire crisis in Canberra.
Well, sometimes it can be a real surprise for students because after they deal with one part of the case, they think they understand the problem and the situation. And as we know with real life events, sometimes things don't exactly work out as you expect. So they can be confronted with a completely new situation, a completely new challenge, which they now have to factor in.
ANZSOG's research is based in the real world, which is why we favour collaborative projects that deliver practical solutions and outcomes for government. ANZSOG regularly publishes a range of books, papers and newsletters. Also, the school hosts a calendar of public lectures and events on a range of policy issues. It's quickly developed a reputation as an effective facilitator of seminars, roundtables and high-level discussions between public sector leaders and their governments.
These are very, very competent governments which have a lot of experience of how to run things, how to deal with difficult policy problems. And I think anyone from the rest of the region has got a great deal to learn, both from the practice and experience of public servants in Australia and New Zealand, but also from the academy that ANZSOG has built up around them of academics and people with experience of government from all over the world.
In the longer term, governments in this region are going to benefit hugely from the fact that nearly all public sector leaders go through the ANZSOG classroom. They get to know and trust and understand one another a lot better. In this way, we will create a lasting legacy of good government, better government for Australia, New Zealand, the region.